Well, welcome to a new Harry's Farm video, and it's the 20th of July today, and this is the time when we're all getting ready for harvest. I had convinced myself a few weeks ago, we wouldn't be combining until later next week, end of July. Crops were sort of later this year than last year when we had that super hot weather. Well, guess what? We're now having this crazy temperatures again. We've been in the 30 degrees here in the UK for a few days now, and the crops have just rushed through and now about ready to harvest. Now, Ricky from Cotswold Farm Machinery is at the moment just doing the service, pre-harvest service on this. This was meant to happen weeks ago, and he came out several weeks ago and did an inspection to do the service and noticed some of the belts needed replacing. And farmers will know this, but because of Brexit and COVIDs and etc., there's every excuse in the book why spare parts aren't quite as available as they normally are. So we're just replacing some belts now. Actually, it's probably worth you just coming and have a look what we're up to. This, just while we're here, I just can't get over this axle stand. I've never seen an axle stand this big, but Ricky was telling me this is a 16-ton axle stand, which is the sort of thing you need on a combine. But no, belts. So these are the new belts that we're doing. There's 3 belts that go on, 1, 2 and 3. This is one is taken off. If you have a look at this is what happens to old belts. So it's not actually failed, but you can see it's cracking and it's sort of well past its sell-by date. So rather than it break sort of during a harvest, it's better to get it changed straight away. If I come round, this is a combine. They're sort of simple and they're complicated at the same time in that it's smothered in belts. We're actually going to change that belt as well. It's just taken a call because it's not coming off as we want it, but we should find a way. But there is zillions of belts up here. There's no one up there doing that. There's these chains here. There's some bearings to replace, some of those sprockets, etc. And the one that he's just changing up there, this is the big hydraulic pipe that basically powers everything. The combine doesn't have a direct drive to the wheels. It's hydraulically driven, hydrostatic drive, and that's the big oil pump that does all that. So anyway, he's going to be here a few more hours sorting this out. I should also say I couldn't have walked here last harvest, because this is what we've been trying to do, is to make the grain shed that much easier to bring the grain in. So we've opened this up. This is a 6-metre door going in here. You're walking on where the pit was there. There was a dresser and all sorts of machinery here. But no, I've got a great big hole. I should also have a door on here. There's a 6-metre roller door going in here. But the motors haven't arrived for the roller door, so I haven't got a door. So yet again, it's the Brexit, COVID excuses, etc. I think they're saying they ordered 10 motors and 4 arrived, which didn't include mine. So anyway, what I'm going to do on this video, I'm just going to talk about, cattle. Yeah, cattle last night, they were escaping. They don't like the hot weather. They sort of stand in the brook we've got on this farm, and there's flies and things. And so they had an escape and went visiting my neighbour, which is all very embarrassing. But they went through a tiny hole, but they managed to escape. And anyway, we got them all back last night. Don't know what's going on next door. But harvest is upon us, so the trailer's out as well. We're just cleaning that out, etc. But I'm going to just take you around the farm, just show you some of the crops that are now very close to harvest. Now these are the oilseed rape fields here, either side of us here. And now there was a time about February when I thought these were a complete write-off, with cabbage stem flea beetles or not very good establishment and other things. And then it sort of seemed to have this second wind and got growing again, and it has changed colour dramatically the last few days of this heat. If I look at these pods, let's see, there's a yellow pod here. They can just see there, the pods are starting to change colour. Just starting to, you want them brown or really black. In there, see if I can find another one that's a bit riper. Right, I'll go into that one there. They also got a little larvae that came in pod. There we are, little tiny seeds. Yeah, the larvae damage is just there. See that pod, those seeds have been eaten through. Pod midge. There's no point us spraying it because the crop isn't good enough, but we're at a stage now when we need to desiccate this crop, and we use glyphosate Roundup, and I need to do it because the weeds in this oilseed rape it's just extraordinary. We put a herbicide on and it's meant to stop things coming up, but all that wet in May, June triggered the weed seeds to grow again, and it wasn't the thick as a crop. And while it looked yellow for a bit, afterwards all the weeds came up, and it's just embarrassment how bad it is. If you swing round to this side, you can see the great big green patches of wild oats and things in this field here. Great big patch of green over there, absolutely awful. And if I tried to combine this without putting Roundup on, then all this green would just block the combine up. It'll just wrap around all the rotors. It's not fit to harvest. Combine can't cope, and you wouldn't get the crop. So you round up it all, senesces straight off the whole field in 2 weeks or so would be brown, and then we'll be able to combine it and salvage whatever rape we can get from it, because it's had everything this year at it. Fortunately, because I'm not alone in having terrible rape crops, the price has really increased. You know, it's normally around £300. We've got used to 300, 350. £450 off the combine this year, and if I'd actually had it in the shed now, I would have got £500 a tonne. Unheard of prices for oilseed rape, but it's proving such a tricky crop to grow, and the acreage is right down, but it's still very much in demand as the end product, that prices have increased accordingly. So I'm going to be putting it in next year, but there's a bit of a battle. I'm not looking forward to combining this. There's not going to be much. I'm hoping for about half a tonne an acre, which is half to a third of what you'd expect from a good crop of oilseed rape, but at £450, £500 a tonne, just about gets some of the costs back, and it's worth doing because I'll then get a really good entry into wheat and have a first wheat, which is the more profitable crop, and that's what I'm interested in. So anyway, that's what's happening with oilseed rape. We'll be desiccating this off. I think today's Tuesday. I think we're doing it Thursday. So you'll come in here, round up it all off, and then in a couple of weeks' time we'll be in with a combine. Right, let's go and have a look at some other stuff happening on the farm. Just wanted to show you this bit of oilseed rape here. I actually topped this all off. This was so weedy, I thought it's not even worth desiccating this off. So I'm just intrigued whether it's better to do this, top it off, kill it, or whether to desiccate. Because the worry is, if you just look at the crop, that's an awful lot of weed seeds going to get planted in the soil. And we're trying to spray it while it's all green, because the glyphosate will actually stop the seed being growing again. It actually knocks it out. It won't germinate. That's the theory anyway. Or do you just top it like this and just incorporate this, because this obviously won't grow either. I don't know which is best, but the only way to find out is to do a test. So hence I've topped all this, and then we'll desiccate the others. Anyway, we'll go nip off. I just want to show the alpacas. Oh, hello. How you doing? How you doing? You got your friends with you? Right, these are the alpacas, fairly obviously. These are the boy alpacas. We've got 11 alpacas on the farm, and there's just this little group of 5 boy alpacas, and we keep them separate for fairly obvious reasons. And you might notice they're all being shorn recently, and that was happening early in the week, and we got it just right, just before this hot weather arrived. Now, everybody thinks you have alpacas for fleece, and that's how you earn lots of money from the fleeces. Well, to give you the sums on shearing alpacas, it's £18 to actually do, but there's a setup cost, and they trim the feet, and we give them a annual worming as well, and overall that comes to £28 to do. And the cost, what we receive for the fleece, well, £2 a kilo, I suppose, if we're lucky. Last year I think we got £6.80 per fleece. £2 puts us at £6 a fleece, so we'll wait and see what we're going to get this year. But basically a loss of £22 on the shearing activity. So utterly waste of time having alpacas if you think you're going to make money from these very high quality fleece. It's a very insulating wool, it's a very fine quality wool, But unfortunately the wool industry is destroyed at the moment. Same story with sheep as well. It costs way more money to have your sheep sheared at the moment than you receive for the fleece. You're doing it for the benefit of the animal, so it's not carrying a big fleece in this sort of temperature. But I think as a world we've got to think of a better use. We've got perfect insulating qualities with fleeces that, you know, you could use it for insulation, building insulation, whatever. But at the moment it's a complete waste of time. The actual end product is just not wanted in today's world. Real shame really. And shearing them is quite different to how you do sheep. Because you want basically they attach either end. They're sort of lanky things, sheep, and long neck. They're too big to do like a sheep, so they sort of stretch them out, attach either end via their legs, and just sort of roll them over and do one side, roll them the other side, do the other side, then do the neck, and then just give a little haircut on top as well. It's all very gentle. They're quite keen on getting the fleeces off anyway. There's no real distress in it, and it all happens quite quickly really. As animals though, they're ace. If you're all doing this, it always gets me. They have a point in the field where they always go to the toilet, and this is their little toilet spot. That's what alpacas do. They don't drop feces everywhere, only in a designated position. And when you disturb them, they wake them up. Oh, it's time for a poo, and they all gather around their poo spot and do this. It's utterly normal. It's very good quality poo, and you can use it on the garden. You don't need to rot it down apparently, but we do. But they're great animals to have around though. They're just, I call them almost, they're garden ornaments. Well, not quite a garden ornaments, they're paddock ornaments. Very easy to look after, don't poach the ground up, have no interest in escaping. George is just coming to have a look at Cameron. No interest in escaping. We had them in the field over there, left the gate open accidentally for 4 days. No, we don't do escaping. We just stay where we are. Completely different to sheep and cattle in that respect. Anyway, let's go down. I just want to show you some wheat down here. Now, this is first wheat Skyfall variety we grew last year that's for milling. And I just thought I'd come down. This is more for farmers really, but this is very consistent. It's what I want to achieve when you're growing wheat, is this consistency from corner to corner. Now these fields have very low phosphate levels, and I was recommended to try a new seed dressing, Tyrus. Now you get recommended quite regularly new seed dressings. This one is a strange one, and it's relatively cheap, and it's a new way of doing a seed treatment. It's not a chemical as such. It actually adds a sort of symbiotic bacteria to the plant, and it helps fix phosphates out of the soil, makes it more available, I am told. And you think, oh yeah, really? And then helps actually bring atmospheric nitrogen to the plant via these bacteria. They help the plant absorb these nutrients. I have to say, I don't know why, but these fields have never looked better. The combine will tell. I mention it now because I'm ordering my seed up with this Tyrus seed dressing for next year, because it just looks better. But as I say, the combine will tell. This crop, again, in this temperature, I can't get over how it's changed. It's still not there. If I just pick some heads and do this, you can see it's some way off. It's all very milky, the seed. Let's have a look. Is that chalky? Yeah, it's milky still. So you can just get a little bit of something out of it. It's not gone what we term sort of chalky, which is the next stage. So it's still at grain fill stage at the moment, but which I like. You know, grain fill with lots of sunshine is good for yield. So who knows? 3 weeks away from combining, but at the moment, look at it. I've never grown wheat as good as that on these sort of poorer soils, so I'm very chuffed at the moment. Well, here's the winter barley, and this has changed the most with this hot weather. Suddenly got ready for harvest. You can tell what we call it when the barley starts to neck over, which is that. You see how it's gone all the way the other way? That is when you sort of recognise it being ready to harvest. And you can see here the majority is what we term necked over. And typically the wind has just gone up, and I hope the microphone isn't picking it up. It's been absolutely still all day. But what you then look for are these sort of feathery ones that are still sort of upright, and they tend to be the ones that still need to ripen off. So that's normally the sign. But because it's been just so hot, even these are now ready to harvest. So if I do this, itchy, horrid stuff, barley. If I get a grain there, it didn't look right from inspection, but that's as hard as anything. Yeah, I can't even bite that, and yet that was one of these that from the roadside, when you're going past other people's bikes, say, oh, that's not fit yet. No, it's as hard as nails, probably about 11% moisture. So I'm going to do a moisture test now and just see how close, where we are with this moisture. The only trouble I've got with it is this barley followed wheat, and I've got to have enough dryness in the barley to sort of, when combine comes in, it's the only pathetic wheat I can find at the moment, but it needs to be dry enough to take account for this, which will be as puffy as anything, and it will even out on a moisture level low enough that I can sell it as another wheat. The trouble with wheat, because it matures later than the barley, it's not ready at all, and it can knacker the moisture of the heap in the barn if you've got a lot of wheat in your barley. The other thing, I've been so nervous, so we haven't actually had the storms in this barley, but it's very tall this year. It's a very good crop, and you can just see it really wants to lay down. And if we'd had more heavier weather, I think this would have gone flat and would have been a complete nightmare to combine. But it didn't go flat, so that's good news. And as soon as the combines are ripped into it, then we'll be baling it all up and taking the straw. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take a moisture sample. So I'm going to walk up the field, and I just want to try and get representative heads of the barley like this. Shove it in the bag. Take another couple of heads there. And that just gives you a random selection and give you a fairly accurate reading of moisture. Right, that's probably enough. So I'll shove it in there and just give it a good scrunch around. I've now got to pretend I'm a combine, and we'll go back to the car and see what this comes out at. Right, that's the moisture meter. Turn it on. What I'm trying to do, as I say, I'm trying to replicate the combine, so I want a bit of wind is useful because that blows away the chaff, and I'll end up with some seeds down there. That's plenty. And what I want to do a moisture meter, I want this seed, hopefully a bit more wind. I've got to fill this, which is 9 mil on there. That's on the barley side. So I do this. That's roughly 9 mil. I then pour it into here. There we are. And I'll grind it up. Quite like the look of that. That's quite a bold grain. This is a hybrid 6-row variety of barley, which it's all about the bushel weight, how heavy it is. And I press test, but that looks good for a 6-row barley, and I will get a result coming up there. So this is a countdown. This is the exciting bit when you're a farmer. Am I going to go combine or not? I want it below 15%. 2, 1, 12.4% moisture, well below 15%. We need to get out there. So I hope Ricky gets the combine completed in the next 2 or 3 hours. We've got to put the header on, we've got some more tests to do, but as soon as that's finished, we're on the combine, bringing it over here, and hopefully sometime tonight we'll get going and harvest 21 will be started. So I think the next video you'll join me on, we should be on the combine, and let's hope this barley has the promise that it's always looked all season, it's looked good. Well, the combine will tell me if it really is good. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the video. More videos coming along very soon.